Hello, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Mikhail Peer Turner, and I feel honored to be chosen to speak on this platform today. I have asked God to put me in situations to share my testimony to assist youth and young adults in their journey through adulthood so they can honestly think about their choices before making life changing decisions. Teenagers are very dear to me because I can relate to them. I have one. I know their peer pressure and immediate decisions now. I say now in quotations because of the urgency to grow up, fit in, and not be considered weird. I get it. On the flip side, I am here speaking to women. Who would have thought? Be careful what you ask God for. In Isaiah 55, 8 and 9, it states, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are higher than yours." When Sylvia sent me a message to ask me to speak, the first response I typed immediately was no. But the Spirit said, "Hey, wait." I stopped and instantly I remembered my prayer. Therefore, I accepted the invitation. Now here I am. I pray and hope that someone will leave here empowered by my testimony and become more aware that your past does not dictate your future. I was divorced in 2017 after a long battle to save my marriage of 12 years. My whole life was shattered, at least I thought. I could not imagine life without my husband. We had cared for and raised our two children, now 10 and 3 years old. How would I make it as a single parent with all the other responsibilities I was juggling? Good question, right? In that instant, I was very angry and mad at my ex husband and also God. I did all I needed to do. Of course, that's what we always say when we go to God, right? We always lay out all our good qualities as if God was not watching or he doesn't know. So I was faithful. I loved my husband. I fasted, I prayed, and had countless counseling sessions. How could God allow this to happen? Right? In that moment of my panicking, complaining, and anger, thinking about my finances, God reminded me of 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. I remained mad at my ex-husband, very mad, for approximately 4 months. That was short-lived, I'm sure, compared to stories that I've heard. But it was killing me on the inside because if anyone knows me, my nature is to forgive, and I forgive very quickly. But due to this process of unforgiveness, I became sick. As I perused through my Bible one day, I came across Matthew 6:14 through 15, and I'm sure it's a text that is well known. And I will paraphrase. For a person to earn God's forgiveness, they must also be willing to forgive others. Wow. This verse was a stab to my heart. At that moment, I started praying and asking God for peace when I genuinely forgave my husband. One day, my ex-husband came to get the kids, and that was his usual habitual practice. So after 4 long months of being imprisoned by my anger, I felt a sense of peace as I opened the door, allowing him to enter my home to spend time with our children. I could speak, I smiled, and I told him that I had forgiven him. He was astonished. I mean, he was astonished and thought I was getting ready to kill him. I probably thought about it a few times, but in that moment, that wasn't the case. God had transformed our relationship like instantly. from doing what was ordered by the court to genuinely co-parenting. We have now mastered that. Our goal was to exemplify a good relationship to our children despite our differences. And with God, we managed to plant that seed. Our relationship has shown our children that it doesn't matter what happened in life, you can still have a good relationship with someone or anyone. God promises in Deuteronomy 31:8 that he will never leave nor forsake us. I witnessed that in June of 2016. I did not realize that God was preparing me for February of 2017 when I had my divorce. So before my divorce, I mentioned that I had many concerns, including finances, because I'm going from a two parent household, two working parent household, to now being a single parent. And the bills are the same. But God opened doors and windows prior to that. I transitioned from working a 9 to 5 as a speech language pathologist to running a private practice, Road to Recovery. I was founded for divorce on February 14th, 2017, and that was Valentine's Day. Imagine that. Of all the other days. I don't know why they chose that day, but trust me, every February 14th, I am reminded of my divorce, but I still make it a happy day. Single parenting was challenging because I had to juggle running a business, taking care of 2 children, being present during their extracurricular activities, and still making time for my sanity. Talk about stress, but I eventually got a hang of it. By 2018, my life was good. Life was real good. I had adjusted to co-parenting and was successful in my career, but I wanted to do more. If anyone knows me well, you'll know I do not know how to sit still. Therefore, in August of 2018, I decided to pursue my lifelong dream of becoming a doctor and joined RMU's Doctor of Speech Language Pathology program. After a semester of struggling to balance school with all my other duties, I got a rhythm. I took 3 classes and obtained all A's. Talk about being extra motivated now. I became more confident and knew that I could do anything through Christ who strengthens me. And that's Philippians 4:13. In September of 2019, my life completely changed. I met and married a man after dating for 6 months. I know you're saying, what? Yes, I did. Trust me, I have never made such a life-changing decision in such a short time. My friend of 30 years highly recommended him. He was an elder in the church her husband pastored. He had a pretty good idea, or she had a pretty good idea of the qualities I deemed essential in a man, and she thought he possessed them. We met in March of 2019, and after that, we spent countless hours talking on the phone and spending time with each other every chance we got. He was a charmer, but his stance with God was desirable. Ladies, do not be fooled. Follow the leading of the Holy Spirit, not your emotions. I thought I could not go wrong with an elder, and God had given me permission to move forward. But I did not wait long enough on my knees to get the green light from him. It got crazier. I packed up, closed shop, sold my home, and relocated to Colorado. I was in love. At least, so I thought. One thing with God is that he will show you when you're going down the wrong path. He will throw up all the stop signs, but God will not physically stop you because he's a God of choice, not a dictator like Satan would want us to believe. So here are some roadblocks that I ignore. I had difficulty selling my home. I had a lovely house, but for some reason, I had no buyer. Homes all around me were selling, but mine wasn't. My house sold 2 weeks prior to the wedding. And I think that was when God said, you know what? You're not listening. I'm just going to let you go ahead. He had some personality flaws, just like all of us do. But who doesn't? So I ignored. He had some insecurity that surfaced toward my ex husband and our relationship, but that was easily fixed, not knowing it was a cover up. I want to pause here for a minute. Please, ladies, do not ignore the warning signs. These will sometimes lead to irreversible consequences. I am fortunate that God did not allow me to fall so hard that I could not get up. You may not be that lucky. So, shortly after marrying, I soon realized that my ex husband was a narcissist. And I say it, yes, he was a narcissist. His insecurity, gaslighting, control, and attempts to isolate surfaced very quickly. He targeted my self esteem but was unsuccessful. I worked too hard in my prior relationship to build my self esteem and was not going to allow anyone to break me down again. When COVID hit, we were married for almost 6 months. Being locked in intensified our problems, so I sought an annulment. It was around the same time the whole country went on lockdown. I figured God wanted me to work this thing through, so that is what I started to do. Of course, I did not want to be divorced a second time. My problem started compounding. So shortly after, my brother was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. I was in school, and the kids were transitioning to a different grade level and also school. I became so overwhelmed. But God continued to remind me that in my weakness, He is my strength. Therefore, I pushed through. In September 2020, I relocated to Tennessee and was happy to be closer to family. Whenever I needed a break, I would visit my mom. I knew this was not God's ideal for my marriage, but I found serenity at mom's house. During this phase, I became more dependent on what God wanted for me versus what I wanted for myself. I did not want to make another wrong decision. I earnestly prayed and fasted about my situation. I did not decide to get a divorce until God gave me the green light. I told Him that I would do whatever He wanted me to do. I was sick and tired of messing up. During this time, I had been in counseling for over a year, both individual and marital. Individual counseling helped in maintaining my sanity. Yes, it did. One thing that was very impactful for me was setting boundaries. My counselor informed me that boundaries would create a closer bond or tear us apart even further. Unfortunately, the latter occurred. My counselor asked during my weekly counseling sessions how I felt and if I made any decisions. I would consistently say no. And that happened for over a year because I was waiting on God. I was okay with waiting because I knew Jesus was listening and knew that He would answer in His timing. My encounter with God is usually early in the morning. This day was no exception. Early one morning in July of 2021, the Holy Spirit spoke. I did not put you guys together. Clearly, that's what I heard. And I probably was hearing the same thing prior to being married. But my desire was more important to me than what God wanted for me. So I allowed my desire to be what God wanted, right? So I put what I wanted in front of what God would have loved for me. That's all I needed to hear. My prayer was answered. I proceeded to hand deliver the divorce papers because I already filled them out and I was waiting. And at that moment, I had a sense of peace. Peace, ladies, peace. At the same time, the Spirit reminded me of Jeremiah 29:11. And this is one of my favorite scriptures. I even have a license plate holder that says Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Now, Jesus was able to establish in his plan in me after my divorce. So I'm rewinding. I became so overwhelmed with everything that was happening. And that led to me taking a semester off school because I needed to breathe. I had to make myself available to help my mom with my brother on his deathbed. And I am so happy that I could share his last days with him. I miss him so much. After my divorce was finalized, I regained clarity of mind to continue writing my capstone. Don't forget, I'm still in school. And I was able to obtain my doctoral degree in August of 2022. My mind was free and uncluttered. I was able to think and be genuinely happy and enjoy life again. Someone said to me, "Girl, you are glowing." Yes, I am. I found my true happiness from within and will never allow anyone to take it away. I was blessed with a new job. Yes, I was blessed with a new job. And I'm working on reestablishing my business. Talk about God. So now here's a takeaway from the shortened version of my testimony, because there's more to this. Your past does not dictate your future. Jeremiah 5:1, and this is the Message version, and it states, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as my prophet to the nations. Because Jesus ordained you for greatness, your destiny and future are already planned. Do not permit anyone to take it away from you. You are already on the winning side. If your mind can believe it and your heart can conceive it, then you can do it. Do not allow anyone to deter your dreams, goals, and destiny. Even though I was met with sizable obstacles that tried to break me, a divorce, my father's death a month before I got married, my brother's diagnosis with stage 4 colon cancer, and his death, I still choose to persevere. I sought healing and strength instead of giving up on my dream. I relied on my faith, support, and encouragement from my mother, brother, 2 children, ex-husband, that's my children's dad, friends, and my program at RMU. RMU showed genuine interest in my well-being and mental stability. RMU paid for counseling sessions, so all the counseling sessions that I had, they paid for them, and sent frequent text messages for me to check in. This meant a lot to me and will always be cherished. With proper support, inner strength, perseverance, determination, and prayer, I stand before you as Dr. Mikkel Peart Turner. You can do it too. You will make mistakes along the way, but do not allow them to shatter your dreams. God is and will remain in your story. Go for it. You can do it. Thank you so much. and I hope that you leave here blessed and empowered to be and to do what God has created you for. Thank you.